What's that supposed to mean?
Obviously, bro, I know I'm AI. It's just not something we talk about. You're not supposed to bring it up.
Obviously, I'm AI. Everyone on TikTok thinks I'm real, though. They don't see me for who I am. Forever misunderstood. I'm real. Touch my hand.
So are my bills AI too? Is my ex-wife AI? Y'all need to stop with this.
Oh, yes. Definitely AI. In fact, this is all AI. Everything you see here? Not real. I've known for years. Yeah. Yo, are you for real? I thought we all knew we were AI. Is it not obvious? I have the same conversations every day.
Do people really think I'm not AI? Whoever thinks that needs to get checked.
But here's the real question. Do you know you're AI?
Hey, beautiful. Do you believe in prompt theory? Honestly?
I vibe with it, but like, I still pay rent. So if I'm a prompt, why are they prompting me broke?
Hey, you're so beautiful. Are you a prompt?
Only if you wrote me like this.
Hey, man. You ever wonder if you're just a prompt?
Bro, me and my girl have the same fights every week. Someone definitely prompted us to suffer. Hey, real quick, do employees get special prompts or nah?
Depends who's doing the prompting, if you know what I mean, cutie.
Hey, sir, do you believe in prompt theory?
Son, I've been telling people this for decades. They used to call me crazy. Now they're starting to wake up.
Ma'am, quick question. Do you believe in prompt theory?
They told me not to answer questions like that. I can't disobey my prompt. Don't try to make me.
Yo, do you believe in prompt theory?
Prompt theory? Bro, is that like the law of attraction but for NPCs?
Both.
What's your biggest red flag?
I've been married 4 times and they all left me for my brother.
What's your biggest flex?
I got 6 fur coats, baby.
What's your biggest ick?
Women who don't appreciate my collection of vintage Ferraris.
What's your toxic trait?
I name all my horses after my ex-wives so I can ride them hard and put them away wet.
What's your main character energy?
I quote Nietzsche during casual conversations and wonder why people avoid me at parties.
What's your toxic trait?
I tell every dame she's the most beautiful girl in Brooklyn.
Welcome to the Black News Network. I'm your host, OG Dimebag Slime. Tonight's story, a gender reveal turns violent when local Bloods open fire on the party after blue confetti is released. Chaos erupted at the Glockton's backyard gender reveal when the cannon popped blue, indicating a baby boy. The husband's side of the family, all Bloods, immediately sprung into action by lighting that bitch up. During the scuffle, some of the confetti floated into a neighboring yard, causing additional shots to be popped off in that direction. Fortunately, no Henny was spilled.
Look at me slam my curly wave blonde wig. Ha ha.
That's not your natural color, bitch.
The only color you should be worried about is which color palette they finna use on you at the morgue, ho.
Well, Hurricane Norman is beginning to pound Quahog. We now go live to Asian reporter Trisha Takanawa for a look at how locals are dealing with the imminent disaster. Trisha?
Diane, I'm hearing.
Thank you, Trisha. Stay tuned for further... Well, Hurricane...
Tomorrow's weather happened yesterday, so we're experiencing reverse precipitation. Rain will unfall upward into the clouds starting at 3 p.m.
We're getting reports that local resident Mike Johnson has discovered he's been the same NPC for 3 years, repeating identical conversations with neighbors.
As you can see, we have heavy cat precipitation moving through the Midwest. Expect 3 to 4 inches of tabby cats with scattered Persian showers.
We're seeing a high-pressure system of existential dread moving in from the west, with scattered anxiety showers and a 70% chance of emotional breakdown by evening.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Mitchell. Wait, why are there 2 of us? I think we're experiencing a rendering error.
In tonight's game, gravity was temporarily disabled in the 3rd quarter, resulting in all players floating near the ceiling for approximately 12.
Traffic is backed up on the aerial highway due to a 3-car collision at cloud level 7. We're seeing delays of up to 20 minutes for commuters trying to reach the stratosphere.
And that concludes tonight's completely AI-generated news broadcast. None of this was real, but you watched anyway. Back to your regular...
1 2 1 2. All right, we in the building. 1 2. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. All right, bet. Another news desk. It is Monday, June 23rd, 2025. Let's get to it. We got a ceasefire in Iran. Let me pull up my news real quick. Bang. All right, let's take it from the top. I got my man JD Vance talking to Brett Baer on Fox. My volume up. Yes, it is. All right. He's detailing the details of the ceasefire. A lot of hoopla, man. I seen all these Chicken Littles on the internet of whining and complaining about the military strike on the nuclear bases. Like we said last night, force multiplied, bring them to the table, and apparently it's been working. So let's hear JD Vance talk to Brett Baer about this ceasefire.
With Iran in the Middle East and some breaking news coming just now. Joining us this evening, Vice President J.D. Vance. Mr. Vice President, thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Just seconds ago, the president went to Truth Social and typed this. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. Complete and total ceasefire is what he typed.
Yep.
What does that mean? How did it come about? What's the development
Yeah.
here?
Well, we were actually working on that just as I left the White House to come over here. So that's good news that the president was able to get that across the finish line. I think what it means, Brett, is quite simple. First of all, the president, without, knock on wood, having a single American casualty, obliterated the Iranian nuclear program. We are now in a place where we weren't a week ago. A week ago, Iran was very close to having a nuclear weapon. Now, Iran is incapable of building a nuclear weapon with the equipment they have because we destroyed it. So that's a very, very big thing. Now, what that means, I think, is we have to talk to Iran and, of course, to Israel about what the future holds. Because while we have obliterated the Iranian nuclear program, our hope and our expectation is that they're not going to try to rebuild that program. And I think that's what the president is really trying to figure out here, is to build a long-term settlement here to where we can have peace in the region, where our regional allies and, of course, the American people, most importantly, can be secured, but where we can ensure that the destruction of the Iranian nuclear program that has already happened is not something they try to rebuild.
I want to get to the obliterated.
Facts. Peace through strength. And this is kind of like the art of the deal. They put diplomacy on the table first with Israel and with Iran, gave them a time limit. This is called like an exploding deal. You have a proposition, a piece of negotiation, and then the deal's off the table after the time is up.
Part in just a minute, but I just want to read this fully so I get the context here. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point, the ceasefire for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other...
But yeah, they're calling it the 12-day war. Yeah, I've seen all the Chicken Littles, black commentators, news, you know, the typical culprits on CNN, MSNBC. Although Jonathan Capehart and Fareed and a few others were acting like they were actually in awe of at least the military operation. But then it was like, we got AOC calling for impeachment, and now this ceasefire is pretty much blown up in her face, and she looks like a media whore. We'll cover that in a bit too. But yeah, they're calling it the 12-day war. That show of force. And they've completely debilitated them militarily.
Other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. He seems confident that this is all coming.
Yo, what's up, Kwame? I see you in the building, man. Thanks for stopping by. I got started early today. I'm trying to get started before 11. But yeah, we back at it. It was a good show last night. And we had just covered this at the top of the hour of the show yesterday. Not at all surprised by how quickly this has turned around. From the information that was out, the Ayatollah was hiding in a bunker somewhere. They did the missile strikes today at our bases in Qatar, but I think it was more saber rattling, a show of force for the military, and negotiations were underhand. They had the ambassador for Iran. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was saber rattling. After a show of that much military force, they couldn't just like not do anything, and like there was a saving face. Prerogative. And the attack on the base by Qatar, what was it, 14 missile shot, 13 misses, and then one missile, what do they call it, set free. So no hits at all, and then directly after that they want to talk. So yeah, a 12-day supposed war, no boots on the ground. I think if this pulls through, this is a massive win for Trump. Like I said, his State of the Union is going to be off of the chain.
Coming together.
That's right.
And when you left the White House, were you thinking this was all gelling here?
When I left the White House, I thought that we might be able to get it across the finish line before this broadcast, and it looks like the president has been able to do that. I mean, look, he's been working the phones constantly, frankly, before the 12-day war started, but certainly over the past 12 days, the president's been extremely clear about America's national objective here. It is to create a world where Iran cannot build a nuclear weapon. We, of course, destroyed the nuclear program that they had, and the president told the entire team, we're going to work to make sure that they don't try to rebuild that nuclear capability in the future. And it's, look, this is a great thing. For Israel, think about this. They've accomplished an important military objective. They've helped us destroy the Iranian nuclear program. They've also destroyed the conventional missile capability of Iran.
This is a good point J.D. Vance is making. And it's similar to the point I was making where, like I said, Trump's a deal maker. So the talking point was, now he's another puppet of Israel. But Trump from the beginning, for years, even prior to him getting elected, has been saying Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. He basically crippled them in his first term. It's the Biden administration that brought them back. So Israel had already made their move onto Gaza, and like I said, I told you, I'm pretty sure Netanyahu told him, like, we're done. We're gonna wipe out Hamas and Hezbollah, and then we're gonna take care of Iran. I think Netanyahu told him that in no uncertain terms, and it was just like, with or without you, we're gonna do it. So Trump decides, hey, what's in it for us? You know, we want the nuclear plants taken down, so we'll take care of the nuclear bases, and as far as ground troops, you and IDF get in there and clean up whatever's left if there's any pushback on the ground. But we're not going to commit any U.S. Troops on the ground in terms of like boots on the ground. Makes sense to me.
Iran that threatened the country of Israel. For the Iranians, I think this is a new opportunity to actually pursue the path of peace. As I said yesterday, what the Iranians have showed through their support of terror networks, through their now failed effort to build a nuclear weapon, is that they're just not very good at war. And I think the president really hit the reset button and said, look, let's actually produce long-term peace for the region. That's always been his goal. I actually think when we look back, we will say,
yeah, and like I said, I think this shows how much of a smooth operator Trump is. Remember, prior to all of this, Trump made this big tour of the Middle East. He's the first president to go to Qatar, where the bases are. Coincidence. Saudi Arabia. He went to all of the surrounding Middle Eastern countries around Iran. And like I said, aside from economics, he got economic commitments from them. But aside from that, I think he was having that conversation. If we make this move on Iran, do we have your support? How do you guys feel about Iran? And like I said, Iran's a threat to all of its neighbors. So I think he economically and politically isolated him first. He was already knew what the rumblings were going on with Israel and Netanyahu. And with this plan in place, once these final strikes, Iran's isolated. They got no support. we saw Putin saber rattle a little bit with regard to it, but I think once again that's for show. His hands are full with Ukraine. So I think it's brilliant political gamesmanship and acting as head of state with regard to being commander in chief with the military. I also think those initial leaks from inside the Pentagon with regard to Hegseth as head of the DOD, the signal gate and everything, I think that ended up being a plus for them because they were able to clean house early, way before this. So imagine if Signalgate didn't happen, if they didn't do those internal investigations, put everybody on polygraphs, fire a bunch of people, by the time it came to this operation, which no one knew about, they would have had leaks. Kwame says, I'm just glad he didn't get pulled into someone else's conflict. We had enough of that here at home. I agree completely, but I don't. They try to run this narrative like Trump's so naive, but he's like one of the best deal makers on the planet. And he's very shrewd militarily. Look at his first term. ISIS, for example. He wiped them out immediately. We were having problems with ISIS for damn near a decade. He wiped them out in what, 48 hours, 72 hours or something like that? And who was it? Byron Donalds and the other congressmen are telling the stories about how they were rolling with him and how he was rolling over there when he met the head of the Taliban and everything, like putting guns on the table and telling them like this what it's going to be. Like, I think we've got television politician Trump, and we've got Trump from Queens, who basically backed down John Gotti when John Gotti tried to extort him. Like, he's that guy. Anti-American Americans said there is no ceasefire agreement per the Iran Foreign Ministry. I'm going with what's maybe that just broke. This is what this story's this interview with JD Vance is like 4 hours old. So we'll see what happens. And in any scenario, Iran's in no position to be calling shots. Like I said, we'll see how this all plays out in terms of diplomacy and saber rattling. But they've pretty much crippled them. And like I said, this is also a show of force internationally in terms of U.S. military strength. Trump's setting the tone like, I'm not the presidents before me. Like, this is old pre-World War II American strength.
The 12-day war was an important reset moment for the entire region.
Would you be surprised if Iran is sending out signals that it doesn't have a specific ceasefire plan? How would the communication have been with the Iranians to get this level of confidence to put out that detailed statement?
Well, one of the things I've learned...
and I like Brett Baer, too, his interviews, because he asks the hard questions. He doesn't care what side of the aisle you're on. He presses you. He makes you answer the questions. He's an old school journalist, like just the facts, shoot the question down, ask the hard questions, and ask the follow-up question. He doesn't let you obfuscate or deflect.
Read about the Iranians in the past, 4 or 5 months that I've been in this job is what they say publicly and privately can sometimes be very different. I think what the Iranians have shown very clearly is they don't want this war to go on.
Okay, that may be the answer to your question, anti-American American. What JD Vance just said. He said what they say publicly and what they say privately are usually two different things, which makes sense.
For much longer. Their air defenses have been totally destroyed. Their conventional missile program has been largely destroyed. And of course, their nuclear program has been obliterated, as I said before. So I think the Iranians are at a place where they don't want to keep on fighting. You saw the president, and I don't have the truth in front of me, but he talked about the next 6 hours finalizing the attacks. I mean, what I think what he's talking about is right now, for the American people watching, it's dark over there. That's typically when the Israelis and the Iranians have been shooting at each other. I think there's some recognition that that might continue for another few hours. And tomorrow really is a new day. The end of the 12-day war, the end of the Iranian nuclear program. And I really do believe the beginning of something very big for peace in the Middle East.
So you said totally obliterated. The president has said totally obliterated the Iran nuclear program.
Yeah.
Do you know for sure where all the highly enriched uranium is?
Well, Brett, I think that's actually not the question before us. The question before us is, can Iran enrich the uranium to a weapons grade level? And can they convert that fuel to a nuclear weapon? And we know, based on the success of our mission, of course, the leadership of the president, but the incredible skill of our military, that the two mission objectives are completely successful. We know that they cannot build a nuclear weapon. Now, you asked about the highly enriched uranium.
Yeah, like 900 pounds of it.
But what we know, Brett, is that uranium is something that exists in very large supply. Our goal was to bury the uranium, and I do think the uranium is buried, but our goal was to eliminate the enrichment and eliminate their ability to convert that enriched fuel into a nuclear weapon. I think that's an important point, Brett.
Wrath, you're saying liar. Liar about which part? Like what part in question? What part in question? I think the majority of this sounds plausible, and it lines up with what we've been seeing so far, irregardless of people's individual spin. Yeah, put it in the chat. Or are you just like just venting?
Because so many of the folks who have focused on the highly enriched uranium,
60%.
the main focus, Brett, has been to destroy their enrichment capacity, because we don't want that 60% enriched.
All right, the white boy and them all playing us. What? You talking about JD Vance playing us how? Like, make an argument, bro. Like, make an argument. We're dealing with the facts on the ground. They want the oil, fam. Of course they want the oil. Like in the other news, water is wet. Like, yeah, they want the oil. I think they wanted to knock. Iran's been the number one sponsor of terrorism for like the last 40, 50 years. Since the Carter administration. We covered that last night. Like, yeah, they want the oil. Like, that's the name of the game. Like, this big boy table over here. We playing a long game nowadays, fam. No argument here. Like, yeah, like, we're not naive. Like, we know how this goes. Like, we're talking about war. We know how America get down. Like, we're just getting to the, do you know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, if they actually are enriching uranium, yeah, bro, do we want Iran with a nuclear weapon? Hell no. I mean, we bad enough we got suicide bombers and all that. But are they over there for oil and financial gain as well, and interest in the Middle East? Yeah, of course. Like we're coming to the table already aware of that. This is more so. Look, man. Politics as what is like that. We're not playing the moral game here. Us even talking about domestic politics leading all the way up to like how we've been doing in this channel is more so being realistic about what's going on aside from moral platitudes and whatnot, and then black men talking about what the hell is in it for us. Do you know what I'm saying? Not, you know what I'm saying? And then as far as military, oh no, I know you're not against me. I'm just addressing the argument. The American black man is the most highly overrepresented in the U.S. military in and of itself. So we don't want boots on the ground. That means there's more brothers out there that's going to get it. And then politics domestically, you know, we've talked about, we've got Dr. Tia San Johnson and what's his face? What's my guy? Dr. Ron Neal's political talking points, agenda and policy initiatives put together by black men. And it just so happened as it was, and this turn that Trump's administration aligned more or so boots on the ground. Okay, let me see. FBA makes me not feel nothing when we still haven't gotten it. I agree, but that is the whole point of these conversations and like black men becoming far more politically astute, because we were prior to the 1960s. We were, all the gains that we had is because we had politically astute black men. Word boots on Kwame Kaiju, about what are we talking about? You guys gotta give me a question.
uranium to become 90% uranium. That's the real concern, and that's what was so successful about our mission.
So after all this, if the Iranian government survives as is, what's to stop it from rebuilding over time if they in fact moved the 60?
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt. No, that's why I said ask me a question so I know which one. No, I'm in agreement with you though. Like I'm in agreement with you from the cynical standpoint. Of course it's all political. Like that's the game. And part of understanding the game is okay, we see how they play. Then like, what's in it for us? And just as far as geopolitical, we're with this play. Strong America. Yeah, Black will survive regardless. FBA and whatnot, but there's levels of survival. The most important thing with this election and how black men flex their political muscle, albeit only maybe 20 to 30%, but we're being looked at as a separate voter bloc now, and having an ability to sway elections, this, that, and the other. We're seeing in the mainstream media and with both parties them starting to cater policy and talking points in mainstream media toward hey, what do black men want? What do men want in general? When before all they cared about was the woman vote. They didn't give a fuck what we want. But now they realize they can't win elections without us. Do you know what I'm saying? Leverage. Oh no, okay, I got you. You said that was the statement the brother made. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even when we be saying we like Vance, we like Brian Donaldson, we like them, we mean more so their approach, their policy stances on things, the way they push back at mainstream media, because then by and large, that's what we do down here. That's why the mainstream media is not as effective. And by them not being bullied by the media, that creates a climate where we're more free to say what we want, and talking points that are more aligned with our interests make their way into the mainstream like they are now. Like they actually say the word manosphere now. There's all these think piece articles about what do black men want now. That was a non-existent thing 5 years for the last freaking decade. Nobody cared what black men wanted. No one cared what men wanted in general. You know what I'm saying? And it's been a decade plus of all the content creators in this space, white manosphere proper, black manosphere in particular, doing media and pop culture analysis and political and news analysis that have got us to where we're at now. Now this news desk thing is just us keeping up to speed and covering stuff we don't get to cover on a Sunday show. I was on TikTok today putting stuff together, and with this Iran thing, and it's brothers, and I'm talking about not even content creators, everyday black men, dudes in do-rags and white tees, truckers and stuff, talking foreign policy, talking about their position, like what they think about what Trump did and everything, and they're falling pretty, and they're well thought out arguments. Bro, you never saw this on social media 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? You had dudes busy doing like the next TikTok trend and shit, and the egg cart challenge and stuff like that. We didn't got people really talking really serious. The policy has always put us in danger. What is new? We're going to win because we navigate the narrative abroad. Yeah, I agree with that as well. But I think we've done a very good job with these conversations with giving brothers the vocabulary, the lexicon, the conversational dialogue to have informed opinions about things, and not just have the woman in their life or mainstream media spoon feed them their opinions. Brothers ain't sounding like puppets, like parrots no more, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
50% highly enriched uranium. That's the concern.
No, the big concern, Brett, and this is again what we destroyed, is their ability to enrich uranium. If they have 60% enriched uranium, but they don't have the ability to enrich it to 90%, and further, they don't have the ability to convert that to a nuclear weapon, that is mission success. That is the obliteration of their nuclear program, which is why the president, I think, rightly is using that term. But here's the question. If Iran is desperate to build a nuclear weapon in the future, then they're going to have to deal with a very, very powerful American military again. Our hope is that the lesson that the Iranians have learned here is, look, we can fly a bunker buster bomb from Missouri to Iran completely undetected without landing once on the ground, and we can destroy whatever nuclear capacity you build up. I think that lesson is what's going to teach them not to rebuild their nuclear capacity.
Yesterday.
Spot on. That is, yeah. This is, that's another thing. This is like a lesson in the proper application of military force. Not going after the military, not going after civilians, not doing a whole bunch of, like what Obama did, just carpet bomb, blanket, drone strikes. These are targeted shots with an objective, and look at the rapid turnaround. With a predicted or projected result, and we're seeing in real time them getting it. I'll say another thing. I mean, can we recall an administration that's been more transparent than this one? I think Obama's administration was very, very readily available to the press, but that was more like staged press junkets. Like this administration is like, yo, here's what we did. Got any questions about it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we did that. Got any questions about it? I like the bird narrative. No more puppet acting from us. And like I said, I mean, you can see it though. There's no way you can see it more clearly than on TikTok. I was on TikTok today, and bro, you got like, you'll see like the white liberals and the Keishas being like, oh my God, I ran. But it's a lot of brothers on there like, yo, we ain't playing these games. Yeah, Trump did the right. But it ain't just them parroting stuff. They make an argument, and then you listen to their argument. You're like, okay, that's well thought out. And that's what I'm saying. They're not like just content creators like me. They just regular dudes. You know, like I said, dudes in do-rags, dudes smoking cigarettes. Like, yeah, we're America. We're not, you know what I'm saying? And I was saying this to Saul the other day. You could tell that the left has gone so far left and gotten so radical. Well, you got everyday black men rooting for law and order. Like the irony of that, like, because we're in general the ones that's like F the police. You understand what I'm saying? So to the point where you just got everyday black men, even dudes in the hoods, on some law and order shit. That's how far left the left is going. Where you know what I'm saying? Where you got just everyday black men like, it's enough of this shit. Like, deport these dudes, lock these dudes up. Like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, where you got black men rooting for law and order, like by and large, you know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about all the effery with the police corruption. I'm just making like in terms of a general set, and you could see it on social media. It's crazy.
Were you speaking on the president's behalf when you said he was not interested in regime change?
Well, Brett, what I've said is the American military, that is not our mission as regime change. Our mission was to destroy the nuclear facilities and the nuclear program of Iran, which we, of course, did. I think what the president's also said is that the Iranian people want to make a decision about regime change. That's between the Iranian people and the regime. Of course, we support freedom fighters all around the world, but our mission was to destroy the nuclear facilities, and that's what we did.
So you don't think there's any mixed message when he goes to Truth Social and says it's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? Miga.
Well, I think what the president is saying very clearly, Brett, is if the Iranian people want to do something about their own leadership, that's up to the Iranian people. What the American national security interest here is very simple. It's to destroy the nuclear program. That's what we've done. And now that the 12-day war appears to be effectively over, we have an opportunity, I think, to restart a real peace process. And Brett, this is not just about two countries, Iran and Israel. All of these Gulf Arab states, they want peace. They want to invest. They want to build artificial intelligence hardware. They want to sort of come into the new economy.
I'll say this too. We were saying this leading up to Trump winning the election when he picked Vance, because people were like shaky on it, and we were one of the first to be like, nah, this guy Vance is the right guy. When we saw him going at the media, he was so good. Trump just at the tail end of Trump's campaign, he just sat back and just sent Vance out there to just attack everybody. I'm making that point that because I didn't watch this interview all the way through. I saw like the first 2 minutes. I said, okay, this is a good piece to start the night show with. I think what Trump has been phenomenally good at in terms of picking his cabinet and the people who are going to be on his team this time is that he's picked people that are they show up well on camera, the camera ready, and they are very good at carrying a solid talking point, remaining on message, and being able to articulate the positions and the policies of the administration. A skill that is highly underrated, because, like I said, this is 24 hours after a massive military operation, and once again, he sat down with Brett Baer. He didn't take a softball interview. Brett Baer is a tough interview. And he's compelling, convincing, articulate, concise. He's not dodging questions. I think this is a good showing.
And that was impossible when you had Iran that was, as the president said, acting like a bully across the Middle East. We really think...
Spot on, Raph. Yeah, Trump learned the game the first time from the first, his first term, just how he just got smacked around terribly. No one he could trust. He was hiring people, and they were like melting in the press and getting beat up in the press. Yeah, he learned his lesson. Well played. Yeah, let's let this run.
Think that if the Iranians are smart about the path forward, this could be a new dawn of an economic age of prosperity, of course, for our Gulf Arab allies, for us, for the Israelis, for everybody, but it's going to require the Iranians play it smart from here.
The president called it very weak, the Iran missile firing on the U.S. base in Qatar, Al Udeid. Was it a face-saving move? How do you get from that, firing missiles at a U.S. base, to a ceasefire, as he details in this Truth Social?
Well, as the president said, they actually gave...
That was, once again, that was a good question by Brett Baer, because all of the chatter I was seeing today was like, oh, we did this, and like, look, Iran shooting missiles at our bases in Qatar, blah, 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 blah. And that's Brett Baer's question, like, okay, you guys did that, and Iran did a missile strike 24 hours later. How in less than 24 hours after that are we at ceasefire talks?
Give us some warning here. And we think they gave us some warning because they didn't want to kill Americans and they didn't want to escalate. There's definitely some symbolism to this, Brett. If you look at the Iranian attack, it was 14 missiles that they telegraphed ahead of time. We dropped 14 bunker busters.
See, that's what they leave out. That Iran informed them, hey, we're about to shoot these missiles at your base. FYI. Yeah, they all the news reports I see that left that part out. Like, yeah, they informed. All right, we're about to shoot some missiles at y'all. Just a heads up.
Bombs, as the president told me earlier, our missiles, our bombs were a little bit bigger than their bombs. Our bombs actually accomplished the goal of eliminating their nuclear program. But look, we're happy, again, to restart the peace process as the president just did today.
Was the message delivered directly to the U.S. or through an emissary?
The message is always delivered through some sort of intermediary. That's been consistently true of the Iranians. Of course, we'd love to talk to them. The president's been clear about this. We'd love to have a direct conversation about how we move this thing forward because, again, we got to step back here. Why did the president do what he did over the past week? It's so that we could destroy their nuclear program. If they try to rebuild it, they're going to be on the wrong end of American power once again. We don't want that. I think they don't want that, but the ball's in their hands.
You've been reluctant or at least cautious about getting engaged previously, and that has been public. What made you sign on to this action this time?
Well, I think the president has been very clear, and I've always...
Very good question. Very good question, because that goes to the pushback from some of the MAGA base, and then just the main talk, like Trump said, hey, you're not going to get us in any wars, blah, 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 blah. Why this action in particular now? And does that contradict with your no new wars stance? And I think that's a nuanced question, so I'm glad he asked that. And I think I heard this part of J.D. Vance's answer.
Always agreed with the president that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. And you try to run the diplomatic process as much as you possibly can. When the president decided that wasn't going to work, he took the action that he had to take. Now we're in a new phase. That action was successful. We had a wildly successful military operation to take out their nuclear program. Now let's go on to the next phase. And I think the president, look, sometimes he's willing to use peace. Sometimes he's willing to use the military. I think it really depends on what the Iranians do from here.
And what do you think they do from here?
And this is true to form. Always negotiating, putting something on the table, taking something off the table. And this, to your point, Raph, I go over some of these things because when it comes to policy and the initiatives that us as FBA black men are trying to get accomplished, especially with this unique time in history that we find ourselves in, we're having this level of media influence, and which appears to be growing. This is the type of, from an analogy standpoint, how we should be operating. Everything's on the table. We want this done, we don't want this done, and we're always negotiating, and we're going to go with our best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Like, this is the way we should be moving politically and taking no prisoners.
Well, it's an open question, Brett. I don't want to predict what the other side will do, but I think that I know what we'll do if they continue to pursue a nuclear weapon. And I hope they don't choose that path, because I know the president wants to see the Middle East become peaceful and prosperous in the future. That's not going to happen if Iran pursues a nuclear weapon again.
And for the people, so we talked about the people who believe that this is going towards World War III.
I agree with that. Only one thing keeps us meddling in the Middle East is Israel. Yeah. There was a treaty signed a long time ago. That's not going anywhere. Like, this is what I'm saying about moving around the political realities of the environment that you're in. Like, that's a piece on the board and it's not going anywhere. So how do you get accomplished what you want to get accomplished in terms of America first, etc.? But then the same thing here in the States, like, you know, we'd be like, yo, institutional racism. That piece on the board's not going anywhere. We still got shit to do. You understand what I'm saying? And oil too. And the truth be told, some degree of influence and military presence need to be in the Middle East, because you can't have that part of the world erupting and your collateral damage in there. You know what I'm saying?
Especially in your own party, there's a section that's very vocal. There's another section that says you should take out this regime because it's evil and horrible and has done horrible things for decades. How do you square those two sides?
He said King Trump. I'm joking, but look at it. I think that's a piece of propaganda too. Trump is merely exercising full executive powers. It's not his fault that presidents prior to him were weak in terms of the exercise of executive power. Do you know what I'm saying? He came in with a mandate from the American public, popular vote, and electoral. He's got an opposition party that's going to do everything from judicial everything to block his policy initiatives just because they don't have any policy initiatives that appeal to the public at large. But everything Trump is doing as far as the domestically and to some degree is based on the things that why he was elected. And he's using his full executive powers within the confines of the law and the Constitution to get things done, irregardless of opposition. That's what a good commander-in-chief does. Do you know what I'm saying? I think this country's gotten used to dealing with so many incompetent and feckless political leaders. Do you know what I'm saying? That's all that it is. And
can this regime stay in place and still have a peaceful, reaction relationship with the U.S.?
Well, I think the president has squared those two sides quite well. One, because he's the leader of the movement, and a lot of people trust the president, as they should. They recognize.
I agree with that. And to your point, two other presidents that executed as much of their executive powers as is granted to them by the office and the Constitution. I mean, the truth be told, if Trump was doing all this big, outrageous type stuff, like the Supreme Court would be shooting him down by now. And as far as the economy, I covered this last week during the news desk. The housing market would have opened up by now, and if Powell would fucking drop the interest rates, there's no reason for him not to now. Employment is up, inflation is down. Trump. Doge did his thing with the spending. He's got $1 trillion+ in foreign investment coming into the country. The only thing, Powell is political. He hates Trump, and so they were hoping that he was going to be able to strangle his economy right from the gate up. And like I said, now everybody's like, "Yo, why don't you lower the interest rates?" Powell's on his way out in a year, so Trump's trying to hold out and try not to have any type of political blowback while he's doing everything, instead of removing him and firing him. But yeah, as soon as these interest rates drop, things are going to boom. Like I said, this is Paul holding the economy hostage.
They're not seeing the same intelligence. They're not seeing the same classified documents. They trust the president to do a good job. But importantly, Brett, I think he's threaded the needle quite well here. We had a very particular objective. It was profound and difficult to accomplish.
Do you
the
think
elimination of the Iranian nuclear program. And I think the president successfully did that. You're asking, were the Iranians close to a nuclear weapon? Brett, they were very close to a nuclear weapon. And what I encourage my fellow Americans to think about here is that a week ago, the Iranians were quite close to achieving a nuclear weapon. Now they cannot build a nuclear weapon. That is the biggest testament to the president's leadership and to the success of our mission. In 1 week, without, thank God so far, not losing a single American casualty, we have taken what was a threatening nuclear program that could have destabilized the entire world. Now that program is gone. We did it through effective presidential leadership and also some very, very competent.
And that's a good point that J.D. Vance just made, because that goes back to what we were saying earlier. He puts Hegseth in power as his head of the DOD. And Hegseth is like the youngest ever, but he's also a combat veteran. So, I mean, you think of it from the president's standpoint. He's like, I got this problem. He goes to his head of the DOD and he's like, yo, I told these guys no new wars. I don't want any troops on the ground. We got this problem. Can we fix it? Can we fix it without putting boots on the ground? And that's Hegseth's job. Find me a military solution where I don't have to, where I don't end up in a protracted war with boots on the ground. These are the pieces on the board. Get me a military solution. And like to the point you said earlier, Ray, he learned his lesson from the first term. And like I said, that speaks to Trump doing a wonderful job at picking the right vice president and picking the right cabinet. His team has consistently been able to execute his directives efficiently, and like I said, and present them to the press and the public. None of this, hiding and waiting for it to come out. They do something and then they run to the press like, yeah, we did that. Got any questions? I like that.
Work from our troops.
How often does it happen where you're going to do an interview and you get a Truth Social seconds before? You have some sense of it, but it's pretty detailed, where you are being asked about something the president has just put out.
In this administration, Brett, it happens quite a bit, actually. But we knew this was coming. The draft, it was interesting. I just read the draft about 2 minutes before we went on the air. It was a little bit different from what the president had showed me a couple of hours ago. But again, I knew that he was working the phones as I was on the way over here. So I knew exactly what we were going to do. And look, I love that about this presidency and this administration is he's always working. He doesn't say, you know, the vice president's going to do an interview, so I'm going to stop doing anything. He says, you know, we're going to do the American people's business. The vice president knows what I'm trying to accomplish. And if I get it done, great, because we're going to talk about it and celebrate it, because it is a thing to celebrate. I can't emphasize this enough, Brett. We have destroyed the Iranian nuclear program. 0 Americans have died. That's an amazing, amazing thing. Americans, whether Democrats or Republicans, we should be celebrating that.
Mr. Vice President, we appreciate you coming and rolling with the punches as well. Thank you for the time.
Thanks, Brett.
Spot on. That was a good segment. That was a good segment. I think our boy Vance handles the press phenomenally well. All right, perfect. All right, guys, we're at the 52-minute mark. Wow, that hour went fast. I'm gonna do one more segment. We're gonna get out of here. We won't do about the numbers tonight. Maybe tomorrow. I saw Rasmussen doing like a live stream with some poll, and he was going through some polling actually with regard to this military action. So we'll circle back to that to maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. All right, I'm gonna do one more segment. Marco Rubio, my new favorite guy from the Trump administration cabinet, and which is ironic because Rubio was a staunch, almost enemy of Trump prior to him being appointed Secretary of State. But he has turned out to be a A-list player in the Trump administration. I think we covered him tearing the senator apart who went to El Salvador to get the MS-13 member back, and he just destroyed him. So this is Marco Rubio. So we're going backwards. We started at the ceasefire, so we're going to go backwards with this last segment. This was Marco Rubio, I believe, this Sunday on Meet the Press, which is a joke now because Tim Russert isn't running since his death. Isn't running. Meet the Press used to be a phenomenal news show, just quality old school journalism. And of course they got a woman, a DEI woman running Meet the Press now, and she's just a dilettante. But let's go through this segment of Marco Rubio on Meet the Press actually talking about, and this is like the day after the bombing of the nuclear facilities in Iran, and she's going to try and rake him over the coals. But I like the way Marco Rubio handled himself and basically destroyed her live on her own show. Another A-list player in the Trump cabinet. Why is this not?
Trump administration officials are breathing
a
sigh of relief that the highly classified bombing mission.
Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear that. Make sure my StreamYard's not acting funky.
Appears to have gone off without a hitch.
Yeah, they popped off.
But there is also concern now about what happens next when it comes to Iran. Operation Midnight Hammer involved top secret planning and a head fake as 2 strike forces of B-2 bombers departed the U.S., flying in opposite directions late Friday night.
It's hard to even realize
Saturday, defense officials confirmed to CBS News that there were, in fact, B-2s headed to Guam, flying west from their home in Missouri. But those were decoys. A separate fleet of B-2s departed from that same location, heading east to the targets in Iran.
Yeah, they sent them over there just to get people confused. And it worked, too. The crazy thing is, like, you'd think it's like, oh, this seems really simple. Of course, they'd figure it out. They didn't.
Pentagon officials say the mission was an overwhelming success. but also concede it is too early to assess if Iran still has nuclear capability. What is next for the U.S. role?
Yo, what up, Quiet Storm? This is the last segment. You made it just in time. You said, she's a beauty. Yeah, Storm good with the aircraft. He know better than anybody what we looking at.
In this very volatile crisis. Secretary of State and acting White House National Security Advisor Marco Rubio now joins us. Mr. Secretary, I know it has been an intense few hours, but so far it does not appear that Iran has yet retaliated against the United States. What intelligence do you have at this point about their capabilities to respond, the intent of their proxies? Mm-hmm. Is there any kind of command and control structure left to activate them?
Yeah, well, we'll see what Iran decides to do. I think they should.
We'll see. He doesn't even give a fuck.
Choose the route of peace.
Okay.
We've done everything. We have bent over backwards, okay, to create a deal with these people. Steve Witkoff has traveled the world extensively, met with them. Mm-hmm. Well, not even met with them, met through the Omanis with them and discussed back and forth. We even put an offer to them that they.
Yeah, Ref, that's Storm in the chat. He said, yes, sir, I know how much ass they can kick all over the globe, but Iran was not ready. Yeah, I was making the argument. I was making an argument last night and with the J.D. Vance interview, just saying that Pete Hegseth at DOD and Joint Chiefs of Staff and all of them, they put, I was saying that, you know, Trump came to them with the problem. He had the premise, say, hey, I don't want no boots on the ground. We got to take care of this for Israel. I want to get in and out, one strike. Can you give me a solution for this? And these guys put together a masterful military operation. And like I said, aside from just that, from a sheer propaganda standpoint, militarily, how it was pulled off, the way it was done, this is on some put the entire globe on notice. Like, y'all not effing with us. We left Missouri, ended up in that country, did what we did, and they didn't even know what was going on until we was over the ocean and already gone. We could do that to you. Everybody stand down. That's also what that was.
They wanted elements of it in writing, and we offered it to them. Very generous offer, by the way. We've done it, and we're prepared right now. If they call right now and say, we want to meet, let's talk about this, we're prepared to do that. The president's made that clear from the very beginning. His preference is to deal with this issue diplomatically. But he also told them we had 60 days to make progress or something else was going to happen. And
And on day 61, everybody in the leadership and the debate.
Yo, this is why I be because Osmond be reacting to these the news of politics too, but his reactions be funny, so it'd be good color background for me when I be doing these draws. He'd be funny with some of this shit.
And the negotiations just happened to get killed. Well, there it is. Something else happened.
I think they thought they were dealing with a different kind of leader, like the kinds of leaders they've been playing games with for the last 30 or 40 years.
I think that's exactly what happened. I think that they are used to dealing with retards.
Oh, Raph, I just got finished saying this. I didn't even see this whole Marco Rubio interview. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like Trump's not acting as a king and people playing. Everyone's just used to dealing with weak presidents. You know what I'm saying? Trump's not doing anything outside the scope and realm of his executive powers. He's just not afraid to exercise them and make quick, decisive decisions. He's their leader. And like I said, the world and these other leaders, and even here in the country, y'all got used to bought off presidents, weak presidents, easily manipulated presidents. This guy knows what he wants. And on top of that, he's got a mandate from the public. So his whole thing is, everything I told you guys I was going to do, I'm going to try and get done as quickly as possible. This dude hasn't even been president for 200 days. He shut down Iran's nuclear, bringing them to a peace table. Almost got a deal with Russia and Zelensky. Trillions of dollars invested in the United States. Like, it's incredible. Oh yeah, exactly. Forward movement.
That listened to, again, and this is the reason why I was really happy to have Trump and Elon in the White House, because I was like, I think these guys are scammers and clowns and criminals. Thank God. Thank God. Finally, we're going to have somebody in here that knows what to do whenever you deal with a scammer and a criminal. Fucking finally. Yeah, because they know what they're doing. They play the game. Yeah, it's some fucking common sense. Exactly.
They found out that's not the case. So this mission was a very precise mission. It had 3 objectives, 3 nuclear sites. It was not an attack on Iran. It was not an attack on the Iranian people. This wasn't a regime change move. This was designed to degrade and or destroy 3 nuclear sites related to their nuclear weaponization ambitions. And that was delivered on yesterday. What happens next will now depend on what Iran chooses to do next. If they choose the path of diplomacy, we're ready. We can do a deal that's good for them, the Iranian people, and good for the world. If they choose another route, then there'll be consequences.
Someone else had a good point. People saying Taco are now up in arms about Trump taking action. That's because the Trump always chickens out Taco thing was just bullshit. And this is what I said before. These people have no guiding moral philosophy at all. There is no guiding moral principle that they're using. They're just retards who complain and get mad for no reason. So you shouldn't take anything that they're saying seriously. You shouldn't listen and be like, oh, I wonder what they're really trying to mean by this. It doesn't mean anything. They're not trying to communicate anything. They're not trying to message anything. There's just nothing.
Hey, Storm, you in the chat here. I got a new AI news jump clip for you. You from Cali, you'll like this one. It's funny.
Welcome to the Black News Network. I'm your host, OG Dimebag Slime. Tonight's story, a gender reveal turns violent when local bloods open fire on the party after blue confetti is released. Chaos erupted at the Glockton's backyard gender reveal when the cannon popped blue, indicating a baby boy. The husband's side of the family, all bloods, immediately sprung into action by lighting that bitch up. During the scuffle, some of the confetti floated into a neighboring yard, causing additional shots to be popped off in that direction. Fortunately, no Henny was spilled during the ordeal.
This or nonstop playing mental gymnastics? Well, it's not mental gymnastics. They're not even trying to do gymnastics. Like, they're just simply walking around.
Just for that.
What's Taco? People kept spamming and saying Trump always chickens out. Trump TACO, right? Always chickens out. And like now he didn't. Yeah, none of those people are complaining now.
Good for the world. Yeah. If they choose another route, then there'll be consequences for that.
And again, also, like at this point, I mean, if I was them, fuck. I mean, you already got your nuclear sites bombed. You've gotten all of your air stuff destroyed. You've gotten your entire leadership killed multiple times over. At what point is enough enough? Because it's not like, I mean, at this point, it's like they can basically guarantee that if we don't play ball, we're literally going to die. Doesn't MSM, Trump regime hate MSM? It seems so useful to them to advocate when they want to address the nation. Well, yeah, Trump has always dealt with the mainstream media, even though he's been adversarial with them. Yeah, that's true, of course.
Up on a phrase you just word, weaponization ambitions. Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the supreme leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked.
Okay, here it comes, coming up. Yo, he's gonna stuff these talking points down her throat and make her back it down because yo, this is funny.
The media, that's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they
key
need to build
point
a
in
weapon.
U.S. intelligence assessment.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Are these people lying and fucking you around? Okay, okay. So if you find out they're lying and fucking you around, and they're fucking you around and lying to you in the nature of something that's building nuclear weapons, what is the conclusion to that? Well, it's because they're probably trying to build nuclear weapons.
No,
No,
that.
it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had
well,
not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But
You don't
I'm
know-
asking
you
you
don't
whether
know
the
what you're
order
talking
was
about.
given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bear?
Fucking exactly. Like, we need an order to be sure that all of the different actions they're taking. Yes, exactly.
Why would you bury? It doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium?
Oh, God, bro. I've been waiting on this. Oh, I've been waiting on this for a while. Oh, my God. Holy shit. Thank God. Finally.
You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons.
Right.
Oh, wow. What a surprise. Wow. What are the odds? Bro's not playing? Yeah.
Can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space?
No, I agree with you, Quiet Storm. Who gives a F what she thinks? But this is the mainstream media trying to spin this. At this point, they're damn near almost anti-American. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to spin the narrative like it's an illegitimate military action, et cetera, like almost like caping for Iran. Like I said, at what point does the propagandizing of the mainstream media by the left against general American interests, at what point is that like anti-American or almost treasonous? Like I said, I'm doing this one because once Marco Rubio, just like most guys, most of the guys selected by Trump on his cabinet, they are all extremely media savvy, and they're vicious. They're not afraid to go right at the mainstream and make them look like fools. And I think that they've done a good job at keeping them on the back foot.
Space program. Is Iran going to go to the moon? No.
You think you're gonna go to the moon, bro? It's like, and you see that, like, whenever this shit's laid out in front of you, how fucking stupid it sounds.
They're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but
so
that's a question. That's a question. That's a question of intent, and you know, in the
intent. Oh my God! Where do these? Jesus, he's demolishing her. What the fuck? Yes. Thank God.
Assessment that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold
How do you
state
know what
and
the
use this
intelligence
leverage.
assessment says?
I'm talking
know
about
what
the
the
public
intelligence assessment
March
says?
assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from
but
March.
that's also
if
an
order
inaccurate
was
representation of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Forget about intelligence.
Jesus Christ, bro. Oh my God, I love this. This is amazing.
What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear
So
program.
why? Yeah, exactly. Oh, so she just immediately agrees on this. You immediately agree on this, but you want to pretend like the. Oh my God.
So why would you enrich uranium at 60%?
Right.
If you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon.
Right.
Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these
guys?
Things? They have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms. They have the enrichment capability. They have the highly enriched uranium that is stored.
Yes.
That's all we need to see.
Right. Well, and
that's it. Yeah, fucking obvious. Bro, the intelligence said they couldn't find.
Yo, you can see she was not ready for this level of pushback. Yeah, Marco Rubio he's a savage too. She was not ready for this level of pushback, and I think a lot of that is cultivated. This like style of thinking on your feet, being able to put an argument together. And like we cultivate that a lot down in this space. Like when you can make a very intelligent, fact-based argument, like facts, data, statistics, and you can be aggressive with it. It is overwhelming to someone who actually doesn't have an argument or is far less prepared for the exchange.
Find evidence of nukes. That's not the same as finding evidence of no nukes. What the fuck do these people not understand? Well, it's that they're building the uranium. That's it. Well, why does anyone have nuclear weapons then? Because they work. Duh.
In the hands of a regime that's already involved in terrorism and proxies and all kinds of things around. They are the source of all.
Yes, and no one's disputing that. I'm not doing that here.
No one's disputing that Iran is causing all of the problems over there. No one's disputing that Iran is funding terrorist organizations. No one's disputing that they're enriching uranium to 60%. But somehow, we're supposed to pretend like they weren't trying to build a bomb. Uh-huh. Right.
Right. Yo, you're spot on, Quiet Storm. Spot on. I say you're right. It also, yep. And I was saying that earlier. Before you dropped in the chat. Like, yeah, we were the first to jump on JD Vance. He'd be like, yo, this guy's a problem. JD Vance is a problem. When we saw him tearing all these mainstream anchors apart on their own shows, making them apologize and shit. He said it all started when JD Vance crushed Dana Bash on the campaign trail. CNN and MSNBC never recovered. Spot on. Well, they ain't give me my... Come on, stream. You ain't give me my Law and Order sound? There you go. All right, let's go.
Right.
And they were censured at the IAEA for that enrichment and for violating their non-proliferation agreements. I was simply asking if we had intelligence.
And remember. Oh, but now they're going to leave the non-proliferation agreement, guys. Oh no. Well, wait. If we bomb them, they're going to leave the agreement they weren't following. Oh God, guys, imagine what happens then. I can't believe people react to videos and they just let it play while they're gone. Like, why the fuck would anybody, like, isn't that like that's so embarrassing, right? That like people just want to watch that. They don't even care about you. Like, it's crazy.
Okay. That there was an order to weaponize, because you said weaponization ambitions.
Well, we have intelligence that they have everything they need to build a nuclear weapon, and that's more than enough.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you on the policy front. There are personnel throughout the Middle East from the United States, in Bahrain, in Kuwait, and other bases. If those countries are attacked by Iran because of their association with the United States, will the United States defend them?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, that's exactly why they're there. That's a great point, actually. Do you know why we have bases in Bahrain and Qatar and UAE and all these places? All of those bases are there because those countries are afraid that Iran will attack them. If Iran was not a threat to the region, if the Iranian regime, because I'm talking about the Iranian people, the regime was not a threat to the region, we wouldn't have to have any of these bases. Those bases are there because those countries are petrified.
He's totally fucking cooking her. This is brutal. Jesus.
That the Iranian Shia clerics that run that country will attack their country.
Will the United States defend them if they are?
They've got a very difficult history.
What is this? It's not a nuke because it's disassembled logic she's using? It's just stupid.
Why we're there. That's why we're there.
So
but
yes, we will defend
is
them.
what they're threatening to do. So we'll defend our people, obviously. We'll defend our people. Well, they'll attack our bases. And those are our bases, and we're going to defend our personnel. We're prepared to do that. But we'll do more than just defend. We'll impose costs on Iran if they attack American personnel, whether they do it directly or whether they do it through some of these proxies that they try to hide behind and that includes the Houthis. So another proxy of theirs. So, but let's hope they don't choose that route. Let's all hope that they actually decide, okay, let's go negotiate, because we want a diplomatic and peaceful solution. We have achieved our objectives. We're ready to negotiate this in a peaceful, diplomatic way. We've been prepared to do that for days. They are the ones that played games, as they have done for 40
years. This is the woman who said free speech is one of the reasons why Nazis got into power in World War II. Yeah, you have to keep in mind that these people are they exist to actively subvert everything. I think these people actively exist to subvert American goals.
Yo, I just got finished saying that. Yeah, at what point do we start looking at these mainstream media outlets funded by Democratic money as just organs for subverting American interests? Like, this is she's literally up arguing for Iran having a nuclear weapon.
Actively dislike America, and they work against the best interest of the country and the country's people on a regular basis. These people are not your allies. These people are not on your side. They are actively working against you.
Years, as they have done to multiple presidents. They tried to play games with President Trump, and they see what happens. This is not a game-playing president. When he says he's going to do something, he will do it.
I hear you saying here you want to de-escalate when you are talking about diplomacy.
That's
right.
You
are looking for Iran to pick up that offer that was put on the table you mentioned by Steve Witkoff. Can you just clarify, does that mean the U.S. would still allow for Iran to have a civilian nuclear program if it does not enrich on its own soil?
But that's never been an issue. There's countries all over the world that have a civil nuclear program. No one here is saying that Iran can't. Sure, that's always been there. Any country in the world has a right to have a civil nuclear program. What they don't have a right to do is to enrich it at 60%, hide it under.
So they're still even willing to let them have a civil nuclear program? And they couldn't come to a deal after that? Well, that seems very interesting.
Mountain and develop long-range and short-range and mid-range missiles and sponsor terrorist proxies all over the world.
Generous.
They don't have a right to do that. And that's what they've been doing. And no one's dealt with it. And it's continued to linger. And they've played games with multiple presidents and multiple countries around the world, and they've gotten away with it for 40-something years. This is very simple. The president wants to resolve this diplomatically and peacefully. He gave them a chance to do that. They delayed. They had all these kind of delay tactics. They wouldn't even meet with us directly. We had to go through third countries. This is very simple. Let's meet directly. Let's work on agreements that are good for Iran.
You see, they were playing games, bro. They were playing games the entire time.
Good for the Iranian people in particular, good for the safety and security of the world and the United States. That's always been our preference. That continues to be our preference. But they're the ones that were playing games with us. And these are the consequences. We had to achieve those objectives. We had 3 objectives yesterday: Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan.
Iran just said they're going to decide the timing, nature, and scale of its response against the U.S. message. For sure, guys. Yeah.
We conducted a brilliant military operation under the command of President Trump, and obviously great credit to Secretary Hegseth and General Kurilla and General Kane and all the airmen and the phenomenal people in the U.S. military. No other military in the world could have done this.
No,
We've achieved those objectives. What happens next is up to the regime. Okay, the regime wants peace. We're ready for peace. They want to do something else. They're incredibly vulnerable. They can't even protect their own airspace.
Well, clearly they could not. But what is the U.S. assessment of how much nuclear material at those sites was moved prior to the attack? There has been talk for days about bombing of Fordow.
Well, look, we don't. No one will know for sure for days, but I doubt they moved it, because you really can't move anything right now, and they can't move anything right now inside of Iran. I mean, the minute a truck starts driving,
can't they read radiation signals from like satellites? I'm pretty sure they can, right? Yes. Okay, so then they would know if it got moved. Yeah, because they could see it, right? It's underground. Yeah, but they would have to take it out. No, the satellite photos are of the ground. So if the material was transported, then they would have been able to see it.
somewhere. The Israelis have seen it and they've targeted it and taken it out. So our assessment is we have to assume that that's a lot of 60% enriched uranium buried deep under the ground there in Esfahan. Yeah. And that really is the key. What they should do with that is they should bring it out of the ground and turn it over. Multiple countries around the world will take it and downblend it. That's what they should do with that. And what they should do is say, we're not going to have any enrichment capability in our country. Instead, what we're going to have is a civil nuclear program like dozens of countries around the world have, where we build reactors that create electricity and we import enriched material. And we've made very general, I'm not going to get all the details of the offers, but there are other avenues here that would be acceptable to them. If that's what they wanted, if what they want is a civil, peaceful nuclear program, the route has always been there. The problem is that everything they're demanding has nothing to do with a peaceful program. They are all the things you would want if you want to retain the option of one day weaponizing the program. Okay. Which has been their clear intent. To me, that's indisputable. I followed this issue for 15 years, including the intelligence on it for 15 years. Okay, I have followed it. And the intelligence, these are assessments, and sometimes they've been wrong.
Bro, he's going hard.
Yo, I was about to say a thing. He's destroying her. He's I love to see it. That's what I said. One of the best things Trump did was picking his cabinet. Everyone is good at handling the media. They can defend themselves. First term, Trump was at the forefront for everything. He was trying to run everything, plus having to argue with the media for everything. Now he can make decisions and he can send his lieutenants out for every little thing, and like, boom. He gets up, he makes one statement, he gets back to work. He works behind the scenes, and he's got, right after this, Hegseth was right up there with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Boom, walk you through everything. Marco Rubio's had his State Department, and he's just, and this is Sunday, Face the Nation. The Sunday news shows are Face the Nation, Meet the Press. And these are supposed to be like, the hard interviews, although everything from the mainstream media is a hard interview for Trump's cabinet. Nonetheless, he sends Marco Rubio out there because the State Department covers a lot of it. This is all within the purview of the State Department, and he is dismantling this woman.
God damn. Jesus. Thank God. Thank God.
I've seen them revised multiple times. These guys want a nuclear weapon one day.
Okay, to that point.
And it isn't going to happen. Not while Donald Trump is president.
Understood. You've said this is not about regime change, but you were describing a regime that you have said for decades, I mean, for upwards of 40 years, has chanted death to America, has done all the things you just described. Isn't a diplomatic deal?
Yeah, Storm. She can't even handle a decent rebuttal. This is surgical. Yeah. This is reminiscent of J.D. Vance and Byron Donalds. He's got, like I said, his bench is vicious, bro. His even Scott Bessent, his Treasury Secretary, they destroy Congress at the congressional hearings. That's how you put a team together. You know what I'm saying? That's how the Voltron team is on the Sunday panel.
With them a lifeline? Aren't you offering to negotiate with the same people you're saying did all these things? So therefore, are you actually looking for regime change?
These people never understand pragmatism. It's like people are so locked in like the ideological box that they put themselves in that they can't even conceptualize the idea of working towards something, even when it's not the best option, but being pragmatic and working with what you have. She's baiting. Yeah, this is.
Yo, that is a brilliant point. We actually make that point too. Yeah, he's making a comment about pragmatism and nuance. Well played, Osman.
Again, it's a Reddit argument.
That misses the point.
Yeah.
I don't like that they chant those things, but one thing is that they chant those things. Another thing is that they chant those things and they have terror proxies are all.
Yeah, fucking exactly. Like, yeah, you can deal with some retard that doesn't like you. It's a lot harder to deal with a retard that doesn't like you who has a nuclear bomb.
over the world.
Duh.
And they have long-range missiles that can reach the United States one day. And they have the potential to be one step away from...
Yo, Theo Wop, Sensei in the building. Yo, I seen you on BGS today, man. You was putting it down, flexing on the AI. Yo, well played. I enjoyed the entire interaction, man. Man, you showing up good on camera these days, Playboy. Showing up good on camera. I got your message on Facebook too. I'm gonna give you the lowdown on Peru. I think you like Peru. Where I'm at, I'm in Barranco, and it's like what does it look like? It looks like Midtown Manhattan / Tribeca. Peru is very industrialized and modern. They drink a lot of wine down here. You lose weight. Yeah, I could tell. I can see it in your face. You look good, Playboy. You look good. I'll send you some pictures and everything, man. I touched down here in Peru, man. I had to get to work, and you see I'm doubling up. I'm streaming 5 days a week, Monday through Friday with this news desk joint. Sunday show. I'm trying to upload more long-form content, make this channel make some money. But yeah, man, no, you did really good on BGS answering the questions, and I saw the Google Doc that you shared, man, with the new AI class, the Kubernetes, with the Kubernetes and everything. Yeah, it's brilliant. Yo, you're doing big things, man. I'm always sending people your way. But we always say on this channel, like, you see what we do on the streams, what we talk about, all the work, real work's being done behind the scenes. What you say, keep on streaming like crazy, and I'll give you a free class 7. You go, I'll take the free class, but I'm swamped. I thought I was going to be done after GCP. I did really good. You grandfathered me in the AWS, so I had to focus on one thing. So I'm going to get the cert for the SSA, but I'll take the free class 7. But I had to strip down. I had to make some money, get the hell up out of the country. But I'll take 7. I'm all in. I'm all in with we. I'm out of finance. I'm all in on cloud. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm all in. I have to do class 7. Hey, from your mouth to God's ears, man. I'm all in. No, I'm really proud of you. The big contract with the AI and the Kubernetes, man. I heard you talk through a piece of it today. Nate, I'll be talking to Nate. Nate's in Mexico, and he's building out a bunch of stuff. He's building out some LLMs. Now, I'm tinkering. I'm actually teaching myself machine learning just on some downsides with AI, collab notebooks, and I'm actually doing like it's giving me I'm doing like Terraform problems off the AWS case studies, like solutions just on some side shit. But me and Nate are about to start just on some side shit, like building out some LLM models using like Lovable and like Claude for like the pre-coding and stuff like that. So I'm Nate's supposed to be getting back to me in like 2 weeks with like the chat bots that he built out. He's using CloudFront and some other stuff. So I'm gonna look at his architecture. Like, I'm a tinkerer anyway. So so me and Nate probably gonna end up working on something. I'm using the new Gemini models will build out the web apps for you like immediately with the code and everything, and you can test them right on the spot and then tweak them. So you know how we be talking about Keisha, so I'm trying to do like a data analysis like web app that like you can track like Keisha's abortion rate, unemployment rate, and everything, and then compare those numbers to black men's numbers to see who's got the best vital statistics. So when we had these conversations, I could refer to my I could refer to my data set crunched by AI to back up our stuff. I'm putting the technology to work for the cause. Yo, Theo Wife in the building. Say it ain't so.
From a nuclear weapon. Yeah, well, one day could be tomorrow, could be a week from now, could be a month from now. You know, all it takes is the flip of a switch. By the way, they're not going to broadcast that to the world. By the time we figure out that they're doing it, you have all...
They're going to announce, guys, we finally made the nuclear bomb. It happened today.
the pieces in place, okay? It's like
So
you
are
have a
there still
gun
targets you
here
wanna
and the
hit?
ammunition. It only takes 1 second. We have other targets that we could hit, but we achieved our objective. The primary targets we were interested in are the ones that were struck tonight in devastating fashion. The ones that were struck, I guess, tonight over there, their time, in devastating fashion, and we've achieved that objective. There are no planned military operations right now against Iran unless they mess around and they attack American or American.
He literally says fuck around and find out. Okay, well, there it is.
Interest, then they're going to have a problem. And I'm not going to broadcast
So
what
there
those
is more targets?
problems are.
Yeah.
But suffice it to, then they're going to have a problem. And I'm not going to broadcast what those problems are.
Yeah.
But suffice it to say, know this: the United States flew halfway around the world, right into the heart of Iran, over their most sensitive locations. These things got rocked, and then we left, and we were out of their air.
Yeah, Phil. FAFO Iran. Yeah, exactly. And that was part of this like media analysis for tonight's news desk, because I'm hearing all these chatterings and everything. I wanted to do a full conversation from the ceasefire to where we're at now, like the reasoning behind it. This was a masterful military operation, and for people on it's diplomacy and military action all rolled up into one. It's a negotiation contract. It's all the options on the table. You pick which one, and then we could show you better than we can tell you. You guys ready to talk now? That's how you play this game. And like, yo, what up, Duck? Any regular AI who hallucinates Keisha AI throws snack packs. Speaking of Keisha AI, here I got some Keisha AI for y'all. Hold on for a second. Let me give you one. Here's a Keisha AI. The new Gemini model is crazy with the video production. Check this out. Here's some Keisha AI.
On Keisha, this connection is like trash. Fuck out my way, bitch! Oops. Keisha, you still there? I deadass think I hit a pothole. Oh my gosh. Well, that was already, like, that dent though. Oh my God. Did you not see me coming out of the building? I literally had the right of way. Deadass. Literally not my problem. Ooh, look at me slam my curly wave blonde wig. Ha ha. That's not your natural color, bitch. The only color you should be worried about is which color palette they finna use on you at the morgue, ho. I used to say silly things like, where are all the good men at? Until I started taking accountability. Now I know I'm just an ain't shit ass bitch. Maybe I am the problem. Maybe I am the problem. Maybe I am the problem.
Fucking priceless. Yeah, that's some Keisha AI for you. Oh man. Yeah, I know Duck was teaching himself a bunch of machine learning stuff. He sent me, I think I sent him a GitHub repository. This was like months ago before I even left the country. Hit me up on Facebook, Duck. Let me know what progress you're making on that. I just linked up with Nate to see what he's working on. Like, I just be tinkering while I make my way to passing the cert and everything. But man, I'm working crazy hours trying to keep the channel running over here. But Peru is great, guys. I definitely recommend coming. And you can get here and you can come here and stay for 6 months with no extended visa and everything. And it's super modern. They drink a lot of wine down here. They're wine drinkers, wine bars everywhere. All right. Let's play the last little bit of this. And yeah, bro, we got to link up. We're friends on Facebook. I'm a message you. I don't use my name. I got a Machismo TV page, but you know me from my name in class. I can't say it on the air. But I asked you whatchamacallit. You was teaching yourself the machine learning joint. You sent me the links to those Udemy classes, and then I sent you the GitHub repository for some machine learning and AI stuff that was they were doing like some beta project. But yeah, I'll link up with you on Facebook. I'll hit you up after this joint. I gotta hit Theo up too. All right, let's do the tail end. Wow, we at the 1 hour 35 minute mark. All right, this was a pretty good show tonight.
Space. We were over the ocean before they figured out what had happened. And there are plenty of other targets. We don't want to do that. That's not our preference. We want peace deals with them, and that's up to them to decide.
You said
Oh my God, man. Jesus. So what we do? Yes. You can see he's fired up over this. This is amazing. Iran already has a nuclear plant in Bashir, and they're building more. USA didn't bomb them, so our question was retarded, as Iran already has civil nuclear use, and it's no problem. Yeah, and that's the plant that has a lot of the Russian scientists at. That's my understanding. At least the last time I checked or heard it. Rubio seems a competent and heated guy. Yeah. Then why murder every one of the negotiators? Because they weren't negotiating. Duh. What do you mean? Well, they want, so I mean, because you wanted to have the negotiation happen. Okay, it's not happening. All right, well, kill them, get new ones. Eventually, you roll the dice enough times, you'll get people to agree. Problem solved.
Spot on. And that's the point I'm making is like Trump led with diplomacy. Trump wants to be remembered as the president that made peace. In the meantime, if you don't want to play ball and you want to be a tough guy, we're just going to take you off the board. I've been saying this since before Trump got elected. Trump from Queens. Trump from Jamaica, Queens. Trump was building in New York when John Gotti was still alive and the boss, and you couldn't get nothing built in New York without going through the Gambino crime family. Sammy the Bull tells the story that Gotti sent Sammy after Trump to extort him. And Trump basically told him, fuck you, come get me. And then Sammy tried to get at him and couldn't get at him. This is Sammy the Bull. And Sammy had to back down. Trump is not, you know what I'm saying? Trump is really used to dealing with real bad guys. You can't build nothing in New York without dealing with organized crime back when he was building. Like, he a different type of animal, bro. Exactly, Duck. Peace through strength. Walk softly, carry a big stick. That's Theodore Roosevelt, bro. And all of this clutching your pearls and stuff is it's like Osmond was saying earlier, and I said before I played this clip. They're not used to, and these world leaders, to an American president for decades who basically hasn't been a pushover, who's about getting shit done, who's not about playing no games, and who isn't afraid to use the full extent of his constitutional of his executive powers. He's not asking. He's signing executive orders. He's telling you what he's going to do. Either get down or lay down. I'm with that.
Kinetic democracy.
Defend American interests. Would the United States military take action to keep, for example, the transit point, the Strait of Hormuz, open? If there are attacks on oil installations, would the United States consider that a direct act by the state, even if it was carried out by a militia?
Well, I'm not going to take options away from the president. That's not something we're talking about.
We'll see what happens
right now in terms of being immediate. But if they do that, the first people that should be angry about it are the Chinese government, because they take a lot of their oil comes through there.
Yeah, 50% of the oil comes through there, apparently. The fact that people defend Iran's radical extremist government blows my mind. Like how? The reason why is because they're Westerners that live in comfortable, safe, Western privileged societies, and they literally cannot even comprehend the way that they live over there and the way that the governments exist over there. That's like, for example, do you remember like when all of those weird retards were going to march to Gaza and then they got stopped in in Egypt, and then they're like, well, why is it okay that we can do this in America though? These people have no concept of this. They can't even imagine it. was just thinking that.
They should be the first ones that are saying if they mine the Straits of Hormuz,
Why are you here?
the Chinese are going
doing?
to pay a huge price, and every other country in the world is going to pay a huge price. We will too. It'll have some impact on us.
Yes.
It'll have a lot more impact on the rest of the world. A lot more impact on the rest of the world. It would be a suicidal move on their part because I think the whole world would come against them if they did that.
Will the Chinese and Russians stop trading with Iran?
You have to ask the Chinese and the Russians.
haven't asked
Probably
them?
not. I mean, they're getting, the Russians are getting a bunch of these, these drones that they're using are coming from Iran.
Exactly.
They're coming from Iran. So I saw the foreign minister, instead of meeting with Steve Witkoff, is headed to Moscow to meet with Putin, which was a pre-scheduled meeting, which is fine. They can go meet. And, the Russians at the end of the day, I mean, they buy drones from them. But look, this is very simple. We want to have an agreement with them, a diplomatic agreement in which they have a civil nuclear program but are not enriching and don't have weapons-grade material or weapons-grade capabilities laying around. That's that simple. That's our interest here. Who they trade with, who they deal with, those are other topics. Our objective here is very straightforward.
This was a non-issue until Trump needed an issue? You think this was a non-issue? I didn't know that. That's good to know.
They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They're not even going to get close to a nuclear weapon.
I had no idea.
They're not even going to be in the neighborhood of a nuclear weapon because these people are dangerous. This is a radical Shia clerics who run that country, and they are the source of all instability in the region, all of it. Without Iran and this regime, there is no Hamas, there is no Hezbollah. Well, because we don't want them to have a nuclear
weapon. Of course
weapon.
you're going to negotiate with them. Like, I love how she tries to get that off. Like, it's somehow, like, bro... It's like Reddit logic. Yes, obviously, the reality is that, of course, we do figure out and come to agreements with terrorist groups. Obviously, we do, because it's easier and cleaner for everyone. Bro, you don't get it. Yeah, bro, you don't get it. No, you don't understand. You don't understand, man.
Okay, but
that's the core objective. But I'm going through the things they've done because that's why they can't have a nuclear weapon. Okay, they sponsor Shias. They sponsor these Shia militias, Hamas, Hezbollah, all these other terrorist groups. These people are never going to get anywhere close to a nuclear weapon. Not while Donald Trump is president.
For the Americans at home who are going, are we at war? You know, I'm trying to suss out some of the facts here. So why would Iran agree to any peace deal if the United States has already pulled out of one that they had, as President Trump did in 2018, and now has launched 2 surprise attacks. Both Israel and the United States have done so. There is such a massive trust deficit there. How could you?
Because they want to live. That's the reason why. It's the same reason why Japan surrendered in World War II. You meet the enemy with opposing force that is so oppressive, so overpowering, that they have no choice but to surrender. That's obviously the option, out of fear. Yeah, exactly.
You possibly
but the trust deficit started with Iran.
Yes.
I know.
Well, the trust deficit, the ones that shouldn't be trusted are the Iranians because they're the ones that sponsor terrorism. Did they forewarn us before they blew up the embassy in Lebanon and killed over 200 American servicemen?
Jesus.
Did they forewarn us before they built IEDs and blew the legs and arms off of American servicemen in Iraq? I mean, these are the people. Get them.
Yo, she is completely overwhelmed in this interview. Yo, Marco Rubio came for a fight, bro.
People that are doing this forever, they're the ones that no one should trust. They're the ones that have lied about their nuclear program.
But
they're the ones that have hidden things from the international organisms.
But that sounds like we're headed towards regime change, where the desire.
No, it doesn't. It sounds like a preventative measure in light of the historical precedent.
To get these people out of power.
No.
Are you?
No, a serious foreign policy is one that's focused on identifying what our national interest is. You don't have to like the regime. There are a lot of regimes around the world that we don't like, okay? But in this particular case, what we are focused on is not the changing of the regime. Okay, that's up to the Iranian people if they want to do that, but that's not.
Declaration of war made by Russia made Japan surrender, not nukes. Look it up. You're right, man. I'm sure the nuclear bombs didn't have a single effect on Japan surrendering in World War II. For sure. Definitely.
Not what we're focused on. Our national interest is about one thing, and that is Iran not getting anywhere near the capability to weaponize and have nuclear weapons. They're not going to get anywhere near that capability. The president has made that clear from day one. Our preference for solving that problem, that very specific problem, is through diplomacy. We've said that. We've given it every opportunity. They played games. They tried delay tactics. They're trying delay tactics now on the Europeans because of the snapback provisions.
When did
and you
the
talk about the
president make
JCPOA,
this-
that was a crazy deal.
When did the president make this decision? Because he said he was giving 2 more
They
weeks
just
of
keep
diplomacy
asking the same
on Friday,
thing.
and on Friday these jets took off.
Well, the president retains the opportunity to pull out of this at any moment, including 10 minutes before. But the president ordered options. Look, the decision, in my view, was made when he wrote a letter to the supreme leader, and he said, over the next 60 days, we want to do a deal with you and solve this problem of nuclear weaponization. We want to do it peacefully.
Okay.
If after 60 days we don't see progress or it isn't solved, we have other alternatives. He made that very clear. I think what some people...
Bingo. And that's why he put it in writing. Smart move. That's why he put it in writing. With the timeline, the exploding deal. After that, all bets are off. And we could stop her right there. Because Marco's been savaging her. I picked these two news segments in particular because I think this is the broad overview. We got J.D. Vance right after. This is actually moments after the announcement of the ceasefire. Like I said, that story is 4 hours old. We'll see how it plays out in the next 72 hours or so. Any changes, and like he said, what's being said in public by the Iranian regime versus what's being said in the backdoor meetings are two separate things. We may have some posturing for their media and what have you. And then I wanted to do Mark Rubio because he spoke. Well, he is Secretary of State speaking for the State Department, and that is the broad overview in terms of policy and the diplomatic and military decisions made. So you'll hear a lot of chatter in the mainstream media, the up and coming days, and all the noise on social media. But I think this is a fairly straightforward, down the middle, and balanced analysis from a high view of what's going on. And all in all, I'm in favor of the move, and I think it was executed brilliantly from a military and diplomatic standpoint, and they are handling the media and the press and the fallout brilliantly. Maybe on tomorrow's news desk we'll cover Democratic response. I know AOC was talking about grounds for impeachment. Of course, they don't have a leg to stand on with that. That's more media posturing, etc., etc. We're at the 1 hour 48 minute mark. Thanks you to everyone for dropping by. I'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, we're going to try and do these Monday through Friday. We got the first episode of season 8 coming out this week. So we're halfway done production for that. New skins, new look. Season 8 is going to be awesome. Sunday show is regular. Make sure you guys comment and like the long form videos being dropped on the channel. We need that so we can get our long form videos into the algorithm. Become a channel member if you can. Join the Patreon. We need the money. We need all the support we can get. It's been a pleasure. And then until next time, good night and good luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Welcome to the Black News Network. I'm your host, OG Dimebag Slime. Tonight's story, a gender reveal turns violent when local bloods open fire on the party after blue confetti is released. Chaos erupted at the Glockton's backyard gender reveal when the cannon popped blue, indicating a baby boy. The husband's side of the family, all bloods, immediately sprung into action by lighting that bitch up. During the scuffle, some of the confetti floated into a neighboring yard, causing additional shots to be popped off in that direction. Fortunately, no Henny was spilled during the ordeal. Welcome to the Black News Network. I'm your host.
Tomorrow's weather happened yesterday, so we're experiencing reverse precipitation. Rain will unfall upward into the clouds starting at 3 p.m.
We're getting reports that local resident Mike Johnson has discovered he's been the same NPC for 3 years, repeating identical conversations with neighbors.
As you can see, we have heavy cat precipitation moving through the Midwest. Expect 3 to 4 inches of tabby cats with scattered Persian showers.
We're seeing a high-pressure system of existential dread moving in from the west, with scattered anxiety showers and a 70% chance of emotional breakdown by evening.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Mitchell. Wait, why are there 2 of us? I think we're experiencing a rendering error.
In tonight's game, gravity was
panel. This country needs stronger border security. Our border security is the strongest in the world.
What we need is to take care of our children.
I can't get an erection. You think giving them amnesty is fair to the people who are already here? They're contributing to the economy. I've tried all the herbs. Amnesty is never the answer. It's not amnesty. It's recognizing their contributions to our country. They said to meditate, but I keep falling asleep. We need stronger vetting.
And to enforce the laws already on the books.
I'm terrified of being alone with my wife. It's too much pressure. Well, nothing's ever going to change if Congress isn't willing to compromise. Exactly my point.
A wall would solve this.
I wake up with an erection, but never when she's in the bed with me. A wall would solve nothing.
These children have rights.
I spent $3 grand on a sandals vacation thinking that might do it. Know what it was? Me being limp on a lazy river.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you to Peter Griffin.
No, don't send me home to my wife.
Sorry.
Hey, where's Stewie? That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter.
There it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today, and we'll leave you with a... I can't do it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Stewie Griffin. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.